Hey everybody, Cade Smith, Superintendent of Braunfels ISD. Today I wanted to show you the presentation that I made to our trustees last night at the regular board meeting on a decision regarding Carl Schurz and Sealy Elementary Schools. As you recall, in January of 2022, we did a stop work order on the construction of that combination elementary school. We had received a demographer's report which showed that the patterns of growth had kind of shifted a little bit to the east side of town and were moving at a rapid pace. We also wanted to do a little bit of homework and do a facility study on Carl Schurz and Sealy, and we've got all of that information in. Let me walk you through the presentation, and then I'll show you the recommendation that I made to our trustees last night. So, as you know, in 2018, the bond was called with a proposed project to take Carl Schurz and Sealy Elementary, bring those two together for a new elementary campus on that corner of Butcher, Gunther, and Nacogdoches. The price tag on that was $35 million after the demolition of the 9th grade center, and that demolition has occurred. We did the stop work order, and that's where we are on this map right now. Here is the most up-to-date demographer's report that's just a couple of weeks old. Now, this is a newer one than the one I showed you at the turn of the year. Once again, same thing. It shows you the campuses. It shows you the capacity of each campus. It goes across the years and gives you a projection of growth. When you see yellow, that means that campus is over capacity. So Klein Road, right now with the capacity of 725, it's projected to be over capacity. You'll have it projected 800 kids for next school year, and you can watch as that growth continues. I actually pulled out Klein Road and Voss Farms and moved them onto this sheet so I can show you that once the wings are added to Klein Road and Voss Farms that were a part of the 2021 bond to expand Klein Road and Voss Farms and push that capacity to 900, you can see even with that once we get to 900 by 2024-25 school year, we're projected to be over capacity yet again at both of those campuses. And in the 10 years, we're projected in those two zones to have over 2,400 students for those two elementary schools. Legend Pond is a piece of property that we own on the east side of town. Here's New Braunfels, the 9th grade center. Here's Klein Road. This is what we're calling Legend Pond, and it's right in here is the property that was purchased some time ago. It was purchased for the intent to build an elementary school there. So that's kind of been the talk. If we don't build the combination elementary school of Carl Schurz and Sealy, where can we go and move that elementary campus to? Because we promised an elementary school in that bond. This would be the spot if we would decided to make a change. Let's go look at those facility studies that we did. And this is the executive summary page that I did a screenshot on. And I want to show you just a couple of things that are the high points of both of the campuses. This is Carl Schurz Elementary School. The facilities condition index is what I want to show you first. And that number is 71.92%. We'll round that up to 72%. And what that means is that Carl Schurz right now, without any renovations, has used up about 72% of its life. Of course, if you get to 100%, that means it's used up its entire life. But you can reset this number and drop this number down quite a bit and considerably if you renovate it. And this organization is recommending that about $13.4 million be put into Carl Schurz if you wanted to drop this number down and get quite a few more decades out of Carl Schurz Elementary School. That's the price tag to do that. Here's the executive summary for Sealy Elementary School. Here's that facilities condition index, and it looks like about 37% of the life of Sealy Elementary has been used at its current state. They recommend that if you put roughly $6 million into Sealy Elementary School, you could reset that facilities condition index number and drop that down, adding more life to Sealy Elementary School. So those are two facility studies. The executive summary, they're quite a bit detailed and linked and go through and show you that both campuses probably need a new HVAC system. They need new flooring. They need new paint. They need a new roof at Carl Schurz Elementary. So there's a lot of things that go into this recommendation if you wanted to keep those two campuses. I want to show you middle school number 3 in a conversation around middle school number 3 because, ironically, it does play a role in whether or not to build Carl Schurz Sealy, that combination elementary school, or move it over to Legend Pond. Let's go back to our demographer's report. The middle section, this is our middle school area right here, and you can quickly see by the year 2026-27, we are over capacity at both middle schools with the growth that we're experiencing right now. What that means for us is that at our next bond, the New Braunfels ISD bond, which will probably be around 2024, 2025, there's probably going to be middle school number 3 on that bond, so it can be hopefully passed, built, and constructed to relieve the capacity that we have right here. Let's look at this map and kind of show you. Here's New Braunfels Middle School. Here's Oak Run. And we do have property right now for another middle school, and it's actually out west where we have 150 acres for a high school, an elementary, and a middle school on the west side of town, and roughly in this area where the orange star is. If you go back to the demography report, you see that both middle schools are over capacity. When you build middle school number 3, that means you need to relieve capacity at both middle schools. So all of the population would shift this direction so that we could fill and add capacity to middle school number 3. So the quickly, just off the top of my head, the zonings would bring possibly some kids in this area could have to go to Oak Run, and some kids maybe inside of the loop or out here in this direction may have to go past Oak Run to get to middle school number 3, and it could cause for some concern on the zoning for that. However, if we were to move Carl Schurz and Seeley, that opens up the spot on Butcher, Gunther, and Nacogdoches where we could possibly build middle school number 3. It gives us the option to do that, and now your zonings could be, you've got the far west that goes to Oak Run, you've got the middle of town that could go right here, and you've got the east side of town that could go to New Braunfels Middle. That's just off the top of my head what it could be, but that gives you the opportunity to kind of pull the majority of the population, which is housed within these 3 stars, inside the middle of town. So let's talk about the finances and what's the financial impact on all of these decisions? Well, currently, in 2018, there's $35 million sitting there to build an elementary school, and we're going to build an elementary school as promised in 2018 bond. It's either going to be the Carl Schurz-Seeley combination, or it's going to be picked up and just moved into a different location, but that elementary school, as promised, is going to be built. We do also have some more funds. We've got about $8 million, it looks like, of excess bond funds from the 2018 bond. So some of the projects we've been able to make cuts and make savings. And once that elementary school is built, it looks like we're going to have roughly about $8 million left over from that bond. We also have $5 million from the 2021 bond that was projected to be used on Carl Schurz Elementary School to build a home for the school of choice and the Discipline Alternative Education Placement Center. So we've got about $13 million of bond funds that we could use on any decision that we need to make. I do want to show you that in today's world, a new elementary school that was passed for $35 million in 2018 is roughly around $45 to $50 million. The construction costs have gone up that much. The renovations to Carl Schurz and Seeley add up to around $19 or $20 million. You probably need to throw $5 or $7 million in there to find a home for that school of choice and a Discipline Alternative Education Placement Center. So here's our options that we've got. Option 1 is we can continue to build Schurz-Seeley, that combination elementary school on Gunther, Butcher, and Nacogdoches Street, and then propose a new elementary school at Legend Pond in the 2024 bond. If that were to get passed, the total of these 2 elementary schools from 2018 and 2024 would add up to about $80 to $85 million. You got $35 million for Schurz-Seeley combination, and then $40 to $45 million for a new elementary school. That is, if the construction costs stay flat where they are right now, and a new elementary does not rise above $45 to $50 million in 2024. Option number 2 is to move that Schurz-Seeley combination elementary to Legend Pond right now, and then renovate Carl Schurz and Seeley, which would cost about $65 million. And that's going to pull around $20 to $25 million from our fund balance. We don't have We're not going to call a bond to make this happen. We would have to pull it from our fund balance. And kudos to the current school board, previous school board, and previous administration. We've got a healthy fund balance that we have not dipped into very much, and we have saved for opportunities such as these if they were to present themselves, if we wanted to do that. So when we look at the changing demographics that we've got in growth, we look at the cost savings that we could have between the two options. The recommendation that we brought to our trustees last night, and I proposed to them, was to move that combination elementary of Shirt Sealy, kick that over to Legend Pond, build that elementary school that we promised in 2018. Let's build that over there in Legend Pond, and let's renovate Carl Schurz Elementary School and Sealy Elementary School. There's the ballpark timelines that we've got right now. With the Carl Schurz and Sealy would start around June of 2023 and finish in about a year. No students would be displaced at that time. Granted that we'd have to work around a little bit of construction, but we would not have to displace any students. And Legend Pond, that's not the name of the elementary school, but the move to Legend Pond would start in August, this coming August, and finish by January 2024. It gives us the opportunity to start now, and then in case something stalls or we can't find the right supplies or whatnot, we have a little bit of opportunity to stall a little bit to get to that August of 2024 opening for that elementary school. And so that was the recommendation that we brought forth last night. I proposed to the Board of Trustees, and they unanimously passed to move forward on this. I will tell you that this most certainly has not been an easy decision, and we definitely want to be a school district that does what they say they were going to do. We also want to be a school district that can look and adjust and adapt to the changing needs that we have, because a fast growth will make changes on a community in a heartbeat. And sometimes doing what you said that you were going to do and then adjusting and adapting, they don't meet up, such as this situation right here. What we saw in 2018 changed in where we are right now in 2022. And we felt like this is the best decision for our students, for our community, and also fiscally for our taxpayers. So that's a decision that we made the recommendation onto our board, and they approved that. Certainly welcome your feedback on this. And not every decision we make by any means is perfect. So love to hear from you and your thoughts on this anytime. But thank you so much for following along in this presentation. And I always say, thank you for allowing me to serve as superintendent of this phenomenal school district. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else on making these tough decisions and serving people like you all. Thanks so much. Y'all have a great week.